Welcome back to another Grow Your B&B video. Now today's video we're going to talk about remote working opportunities right now in 2025. Now I'm going to go through two. The first one being Airbnb co-hosting, and then the second one being appointment settings for online coaches, mentors, consultants like myself, right? And I've been able to do both the jobs over the last few years. I've worked with over 5,000 properties online on Airbnb properties across Dubai, UK, US, Canada, Australia, Spain, many other countries. And while I'm doing that, I've also personally myself done my own appointment settings, right? Because people who contacted me, I have to speak to them, I've got to qualify them and all that kind of stuff. So I've got best of both experience to explain to you over the last few years how I've achieved the success that we have as a business, but also build companies alongside it. So guys, if you're new to this channel, my name is PSBK, and let's get into the comparison on how you can achieve more remote working, financial freedom, and hopefully enjoy what would like to be your preferred way of going into remote working for 2025. Now, first off is Airbnb co-hosting. Now, all you're thinking about is three things. Firstly, you're handling all the guest communication for the Airbnb owner. Think about it as a management, like a letting agent or a management company, a property management company who takes a property from a landlord, so then they can do everything. In your case, because you're more of a co-host, which is still a property management, you're looking after all the guest communication, you're looking after all the marketing, the softwares and everything to do online, and lastly, you're helping them manage the cleaning, which is obviously they've got cleaners going in, cleaners going out, and they're really the three things that you need to know for now. It is perfect if you're detail oriented, you love working with people, think about guests and their guest experience, or effectively a hospitality industry. But also the rewarding system's really great because you're charging anywhere between 10 to some, obviously property management companies slightly further into these services can offer 10% to 20% off the revenue share, which is a great way to start adding recurring income to your business. Next we have is appointment setting. Now all you're doing is you're connecting client to the business owner or their sales team. Now if it's working with an online coaches, consultant, mentors, you're working on their behalf. Now there's really, again, three things you're doing. Firstly, you're working on having communication with that inbound leads, so people who is interested to work with that potential business owner for yours. You've got outbound or outreach, so you're taking time to speak to or allowing yourself to grow their business, and by having those conversations, finding leads and all that kind of stuff. And thirdly, all you're doing is you're booking a sales or an appointment with their sales team or the business owner themselves. Now it's a fantastic option if you love working with people. Obviously, if you love communicating with people on a one-to-one basis. A part of you love a little bit of sales because that's obviously selling. At the end of the day, you're an inbound trying to have those conversations. Obviously with the outreach, you're having conversation. Now this job role offers a little bit more flexibility because you have the option to work certain hours. You know, in my case, for example, if you contact us through Instagram, Facebook, you've got all that methods that needs to be looked after, because as a business, I can't be everywhere, right? Doing all these things. So it's a great way to look into it, and eventually like you're rewarded heavily on commission. So what that means is the more appointments you set up, the more commission and rewards you make. So how does this two stack up? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share you my screen, and I want to explain you what's going to be ideal for you. So the first thing you can see on left hand side, you've got Airbnb co-hosting. Now what I'm looking here is the three features I've explained. The first one is going to be working behind the scene, because obviously what you're doing is you're looking after everything in the back end for an Airbnb owner. So you've got to really make sure that you enjoy working behind the scene. You're not front facing, you're not going to meet people, you're not talking to people through face to face, you're literally sitting in a computer doing working behind the scene. The second feature is you focus on customer experience. If you really enjoy giving customer great experience, you don't mind communicating with them, there's always requests and support that you need to give to a potential guest who is staying into one of your co-hosting property. You've got to focus on customer experience because that's how you're going to gain more business. And lastly, have an eye for details, because as you're building this co-hosting business, you really need to make sure that every single minor detail is looked after and made sure that your co-hosting paying clients or properties are done or hosted properly, bookings are coming properly, calendars are filled in, making sure that the guest who's staying in there is having a great experience. And lastly, putting some automation in place so you don't have to do the same thing again and again. On the other hand, this is appointment setting for you. What's best is if you love sales. Now, if you love sales, you want to go in and help the business owner achieve more sales, this is the perfect role. Second thing is relationship building. Now, many people, you might be one of them watching my video. One of the things I do really well before we work with any clients is we make sure that we understand their need. We understand the relationship. What do they want to achieve? I want to make sure I add value to you. Hopefully this video right now is actually giving you a bit of value. You might be just focusing on co-hosting, but you might be thinking, actually, now you've come onto this new world of appointment setting. So the idea of relationship building comes in many different ways. And yeah, it is one of the features that you need to have to make sure you enjoy appointment setting. And lastly, you enjoy connecting people to services they need. Because at the end of the day, I'm always been one of those person that every year I want to invest in my business. So I connect to different, providers, consultants, supports that I need. And as a result of that, I need to connect to those people, and those appointment setter will connect me to the right services that I need to improve my business and grow my business. So that is effectively the three things individually that you need on either co-hosting, and if that's ideal for you based on what the flow works, and then again on appointment setting on the flow, how it works. Both opportunity has great flexibility. It has great potential earning. Now I must say, and I'm going to make a thorough video about this, but in one place you've got earning like 10-20% on commission, and that's more based on what bookings you bring or the revenue share you're going to do with the potential landlord. Now with the appointment setting, you're more employed by the owner as an appointment setter in the business, which means you're only going to get 5%, 10% commission based on whatever ticket value is, right? So if that ticket value is like £3,000, then that there's an opportunity for you to earn 5%, sometimes nicely 8% on commission. But you've got to think about what's best for you, what practice. You can switch off on the remote, like appointment setting. Yeah, you can, because if you're off, whereas with co-hosting you're always on board, because you might have guests messaging you and you need a little bit more attention. You can systemize this by having somebody working for you. In this case, you are working independently, and obviously you can build a team around it, but you're again effectively just sub-hiring, and which might not be as great as you are in terms of the appointment setting roles and stuff like that. So hopefully this gives you an understanding of what's going to be best for you. And I would love you to comment down below if co-hosting is still what you like, or is appointment setting appealing to you, right? For example, if you're new to this channel and you've decided actually this topic around co-hosting and appointment setting, I think for me personally is like the best 2025 opportunity. And hopefully I get to see from you guys in the comments what you guys like. And I know I get a couple of hundred views, and I would love you to take advantage to write down, because then we can help you with further support guide on how you can achieve those goals for your business in 2025. So if you're new to this channel, please make sure you hit that like, subscribe and share. Obviously, if you guys don't know who I am, I'm Piers BK from Grow Your BNB and automateyourbnb.com. We've worked with just over 5,000 properties globally. We're looking to grow massive this year. I'm really excited to put this content out, because being in that position of both working with so many clients in terms of building their brand, and obviously some of my clients are now doing co-hosting with our mastermind that we do, and then appointment setting, which I've had a big challenge because we're looking to scale, because I don't have time to sit down and speak to everyone, and I want to give as many people good value into the business. I needed somebody to work for me as an appointment setting. So both, I believe, has a great opportunity of business. Obviously it's finding what you like and enjoy, but making sure that you fit for that role, right? So guys, if you're new to this channel, please make sure you hit that like, subscribe and share, and I'll be back with another video soon.